It's a win-win for everyone. Tell your Wayne County officials that you support this good neighbor plan today.
Murphy's Builder Supply is where you need to go for all your home improvement projects and hardware needs. They've been serving folks in this area since 1946. Murphy's offers some products and services that you may not know about. They now sell ammunition, both bullets and shells. Murphy's also sells personalized tags for dog collars. They build customized screens for windows and doors. Murphy's can rekey locks, and of course they can make keys. They cut glass for windows, plus Murphy's has monthly door buster specials. Check their Facebook page to see what's on sale. Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup. Jessup Premium Storage, 1455 South 1st Street is Jessup's best place to store your valuables. Whether it's furniture between moves or just a place for the overload, call Jessup Premium Storage at 530-8003. That's 530-8003. Jessup Premium Storage units are indoors, climate controlled, and they have 24-hour surveillance and on-site management. You have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to your unit. Sizes range from 5x5 to 10x25. They also have outside covered and uncovered spaces available for vehicles, boats, trailers, and RVs. Jessup Premium Storage on the Waycross Highway in Jessup.
Save thousands over the life of your car loan with 0% financing on 2017 F-150s, plus $1,000 trade-in assistance at Mike Birch Ford and Blackshear. No fake deals here. It's our summer savings event, and it won't last. Stop the search. Call Mike Birch.
0% with approved credit. See dealer for details.
World famous Butch and Bob show on WIFO-FM at 8:01, brought to you this morning by Republic Services, Murphy's Builder Supply, Jessup Premium Storage, and Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Jonathan. Time now for the world famous Butch and Bob show. Got Ralph and Jimmy Hickox in here, but I don't think we're talking Strand Cinema. You know, I did go there last night to see a good movie, but they got The Kingsman too. I got to go check that out. But I think you're here to talk about your town hall meeting. Is that correct?
We are. What, you see, come and watch American Assassin last night?
Yeah, great movie. Yeah.
What was the Bob review on that one?
I'd say A+. Michael Keaton. Yeah, a friend of mine told me it was a good movie on Saturday in Athens, so I had to go check it out. So I was glad I did.
Try one of them grilled cheese sandwiches again?
No, I ate before I got there. So.
Good deal. Well, you know, Bob, as I promised when I ran, I said I'd have town hall meetings, and that's what this is. We're having another one of the town hall meetings at the Historic Strand. It'll be tomorrow, Tuesday, from 6 to 8 p.m., and we're inviting everyone, not just the 5th District. It's the first hour of it from 6 to 7 will be casual conversation, networking, socialization, and we'll be providing refreshments and some drinks. I've invited all of the local officials in the county. If I hadn't got a hold of them yet, this is their invitation. I've also invited our state representatives, Chad and Bill. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it or not, but I did invite them. Also, I invited our senator, Blake Tillery. At 7 o'clock, I'll have a brief. I'll speak and give a brief review of the issues we faced in the last 3 years in the direction I believe it's headed in. And then afterwards, I'll open the floor to questions, and nothing will be off limits. You know, as I always am. I'm pretty wide open with that kind of thing, and I'll answer whatever the people ask. To the best of my ability. If I don't have the answer, I'll get it. So, you know, I've ran as being transparent. And that's what I'm going to stay. One of the things I did run, if you recall, was about I was determined to build unity back between the city and the county, and I think I've done a pretty good job of doing that. But we've been working on the economic outlook of the county, and got the DDA is doing a really good job with that. Still working on the land management, and a little disappointed with the TAN. You know, we're looking at having to raise the TAN. I'm not happy about that. We didn't have much choice with the situation we're in. But that's pretty much what we're doing. It's a town hall meeting. We'll go through a lot of those things, and inviting all the public to come out.
Well, one decision's been made is the new administrator's been selected. Starts in 1st of October. Your thoughts on Ed Jefferson's new county administrator?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty excited about that. You know, when we took office, or when I took office, one of the things that we were interested in doing was bringing someone local, someone educated, someone local, someone that has a vested interest in Wayne County. And you know, when we hired Luther, he's a good man, but when we hired him, it was a temporary thing at the time. It was so we could look for someone that we felt like would have that vested interest in our community, and it would be long term, and that's where we were at. That was the whole reason behind the move. But I'm excited about Ed being hired. He is a local guy. He's also a former commissioner. He's like I am. He's a numbers guy, and I like that. two things that I was interested in having in a new administrator was, one was they need to be a numbers guy. They had to know the books. They had to be able to dig in the books and cut out fat and hold accountability, and that's what I wanted. The other thing is I want someone who's really good at communicating, someone who won't just sit behind a desk, wouldn't stay in that office all the time, would go out and meet with the sheriff, go meet with the clerk, go meet with the probate, and get out with the department heads, go visit out there, go out on the roads. Someone who reached out to our county employees and involved themselves also in our community. I'd like to see them at the ball games, and all those things I described. Is Ed. He already does those things. He's at every ball game, and so I thought that kind of thing would go well. And I also like the message he's bringing in. We're basically, it's going to be okay. We're going to work together. We're committed. The board is committed to do what we have to do to fix the issues with the finances. We're committed to work together, and we're going to make it. It's going to be all right, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, again, Wayne County's not privy to the interview process or the application process. We report who all, how many apply, things like that. But your overall thought process on the applicant pool that they had, and how that process went.
Very well. We all worked together real well on that. The pool was a good pool of applicants. It's always hard, when you're going through. The first thing you do is you sort through the ones that are obviously not qualified. A lot of people don't realize how detailed the administrator's job is. There's a lot of government finance stuff that's just not like regular business. So they needed a certain amount of experience, and so you weed out a good bit right there. And then from there, we narrowed it down to, I believe it was 7 initially, and we went by qualifications. Some we did weed out because they were too far away. There were some decent applicants that were Texas somewhere, and we just didn't feel like they'd have a vested interest to stay here. That we'd be a stepping stone for them. We're not really looking to be somebody's next step on the ladder. We wanted someone that was, again, vested, interested in staying here, working on this community. And Ed, I believe, is very passionate. You talk to him for just a few minutes, you can tell he's passionate about fixing it. He already had a job, Bob. He had a good job out at the mill. He could have stayed right there. There's no reason to quit and do this. He was interested in a new chapter, a new challenge, giving back to the community. And I thought this was a good. I'm happy with the hire.
When he takes over, is he going to just take over full time? Is Luther going to retire, or people keep asking that question because there's talk that the current administrator is going to stay on and train the new administrator? But your thoughts on that? I know Luther's got some health issues that I think he's looking to retire and get out.
He does. He has some health issues, but as of October 1st, Ed Jeffers will take over. We did retain Luther on a hourly basis, so he's there he's there as a consultant if Ed needs him, and Ed will need him on some things. There's, running business. It didn't take me long to figure out after I got elected. I went through they sent us all these classes so we hopefully understand how to make good decisions. And one was the finance class, government finance. And when I come out of that class, the way government handles money and the way private sector does is just nothing remotely similar. So, he's going to have some adjustments there. And that's what Luther will be available to help him to navigate that, and also to make sure we don't break any laws with GASP, because if you break one of those, you can lose grants, you can get fined. There's a lot of issues with that.
If you just joined us, Ralph Hickok's in. He's got a town hall meeting on Tuesday night. What time does it begin again? It
starts at 6. From 6 to 7 it's kind of casual. What we'll do in that time, and again, we have refreshments, and we'll let people mingle and talk, and it'll be very casual. But also, we've got the full building opened up, so they can look at all 3 of the theaters. They're welcome to go upstairs, look at the apartment.
The apartment is not clean right now. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Jamie will get it clean. I'll snap my finger and put it to work and get her to get clean it. Also, the projection area where you can see the new projection we put in.
She's shaking her head no.
She's not part of. She told you when she came in here she weren't going to talk. Remember?
I asked if she could talk. I told her she was invited to talk. You better be careful. She said she's going to run against you next election. So I don't know.
Probably beat me too.
There's a couple issues. Let's talk about the budget first. I mean, this SPLOST vote's coming up, which is a very important vote, and I'm still agitated and aggravated that I don't see any signs. I don't see any push for it. I mean, I've been crying for the last 2 months about why there's not a push for the SPLOST, because it's very important. If you think people are just going to show up and vote for it, I think you're fooling yourself. I don't understand where the push is. I know the chairman's supposed to have a meeting last month. It got canceled, but I don't see anything to push the SPLOST. I mean, it's November 7th is going to be here before you know it. It's a very important vote, especially for the city and the county and the city of Scriven and Odom. If it doesn't pass, taxes are going to go up sky high. So why isn't there a push for the SPLOST at this time? What are we doing? Well, I know Derby wrote an article a month ago saying the same thing. I've been talking about it on Butch and Bob show. Where's the push for the SPLOST?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because the truth is that the county officials, city officials, we're not allowed actually to promote it.
I understand that, but there's got to be other people.
But you asked me a question, so I'm allowed to answer a question, so I'm going to come with that. So it has to be pushed through private. That's the chamber handles that. But you're absolutely right in all you're saying, that we have to have it. Right now, the county side of that is we're on the hook still for $5 million worth of GEO bonds, which is the hospital bonds, and that's paid for out of this tax. And if that's not renewed, that's going to have to be made up out of the general budget, and it's just not there. In addition to that, we have another $6 million, so we got right almost 12 actually, but it's 11 some change. That the other 6 is in road improvements that we desperately need, and we don't have that in the general budget to do. We have bridge maintenance that needs to be done. We have some fire equipment to help keep the insurance lower in the county. Those are things those are obligations. If we don't fund some kind of way, it's going to hurt us. And those are coming out of the SPLOST. That's where they get paid for out of. That's roughly $11 million over 6 years that we're going to need to meet these obligations. Now, I had to give a little lesson in what a millage was when I got elected, but basically, for those who don't know, a mill is actually not a fixed number. It can go up and it can go down. A mill is a fraction of the evaluation of the county. It literally is 1/1,000,000th of the value of the county at a given time. Thus a mill. Current last year, I believe the digest rate, the value of the county was somewhere around $650 million. So the millage is around $650,000 one mill. So basically, when the economy does well and the values go up, you can have the same millage, but your value can go up. And if it's likewise, like last year, it went down. When it goes down, the millage can stay the same. You can lose money. We actually lost value. We lost $700,000 in one devaluation on the tax rate. So this $1 million we raised really didn't raise us any more revenue. It basically pushed right back to where we were. But in that, I said that because, again, we need the $11 million to cover these obligations we have in the next 6 years. Well, at the current millage rate of where we're getting around $650,000, that means that we would have to meet those obligations. The county would have to have an additional 2.8 mills. We'd have to raise, let me repeat that, another 2.8 mills without the SPLOST in order to meet these same obligations. That's a big deal. Now, nobody likes taxes. Me and Jamie, we got several businesses, and we pay a boatload of taxes. And I hate hearing from Kel Harris more than anybody in this world, because it's sort of stroke a check on these taxes. But I will tell you this: if I got to pay a tax, paying the sales tax is about as fair as you get. Is everybody straight across the board? I don't like that one either, by the way. But if I got to pay it, it's about the fairest as it gets. And these obligations are going to have to be met one way or the other. We're going to have to pay for the hospital. We're obligated for that. I didn't obligate for it. It was but it's a good thing. We need it, and it's been very successful. But we got to pay for it. And if we don't pay for it with SPLOST, it's going to have to come somewhere else. And that somewhere else we have to choose is there's only one other place, and that's out of the digest. That's raising the millage. And yes,
even with the SPLOST, the county's not in good financial shape. I mean, they already talked about how they got to cut. I mean, without the SPLOST, it's going to be a bad situation.
It's a train wreck if we don't. You're right, it is. Now, with that, there's some positive things coming down. You're right.
They talked about that another hurricane didn't come. Well, that was before the hurricane came.
Yes, it was. Well, we had 2 last year, and then there were landfill hurts that a lot of people don't realize. It was a combination of things that put us there. We didn't overspend the budget. The problem was a lot of the revenues, the budget was set. It was balanced, and we didn't overshoot our budget. Some of the revenues we expected we didn't get. And it was a very things. One was there was a $700,000 net loss in revenue on one appeal alone with a major industry in town, and that's something we couldn't foresee them winning that and us losing that. We couldn't foresee that. There was some. Let's see. We lost some revenue from sales tax. We lost. Jamie, what are you looking at? We lost some several places revenue, and that hurt us bad. And that's pretty much where we're at with it.
I'm just saying, the county, people need to understand that even with the SPLOST, the county's not in good financial shape. The county's already said they got to go through the budget. They've already talked about talking to each department head, seeing where they can cut budget. They got a hiring freeze right now. Two public officials, elected officials, asked for an employee in their office. They have not been able to get that done. So the county's not in great financial shape. Like I said, you're already borrowing. How much is the TANs?
TAN right now is $4.5 million,
and they're going to increase that $500,000. What they said in the upcoming budget. So we're back. It's a big for mine too, because I tell people all the time that that's what people need to understand. The county's not in good financial shape. When you have to borrow $5 million just to operate at the beginning of the year, that's not good finances.
Well,
the school board doesn't have to borrow. The city doesn't borrow, but the county does. Every year they say, "Oh, we got to borrow $5 million even to start." So it's not a good financial situation. So that's a tough. I asked Ed, you sure you want to get in this, because it's not going to be a fun job, because cuts have to be made. They got to look at that budget and say, look, where are we going to get back to being a balanced budget? We argue about the federal government the same way. Well, the county's in the same situation. Every year you have to go out and borrow $5 million. You've already said that a lot of these banks aren't doing that anymore. They're getting fewer and fewer. So that's my question. When the banks finally say, no, we're not going to give $5 million to any government agencies to start the year, what do you do then? Where's that money coming from?
No, you're right, and that was my pet peeve around. I want to get rid of that, and each year we set aside money. We set aside $1.25 million in year one budget that I was involved in, and that was to
the question people keep asking: is there waste in the government? Where can they cut? They talk about what they need, what they have to have. The question is there any waste in the budget? Is there anywhere to cut? I tell people one thing that really hurts us is all these murder trials that came up. People don't understand that. When you have to have security and all the stuff that goes on with a murder trial in Wayne County, that cost is enormous. And unfortunately, Wayne County picks up the majority of that tab. And these murders are occurring more and more frequently in Wayne County. We've had one almost every month for the last 6 months. People don't understand the cost of that. The court cost of that is enormous. Well, and luckily they don't even sequester jurors anymore. They used to sequester jurors in a murder trial. You realize how much that expense would be? But that's the thing that's hurting the budget as well. But all these department heads are coming and saying, "Look, where do you cut?" That's the question people get asking. Is there any waste in the budget? You've seen the budget better than I have. Is there anywhere to cut? And I'm sure Ed Jeffers is going to do that. And like
there always are some places you can cut, Bob. But you are right that your budget, it was $23 million. There's a lot of that's fixed money you can't change. It's like at your home, you can't change what your mortgage is. It is what it is. You can't say, well, I'm going to cut my mortgage this month, or I'm going to cut you can cut the lights off, but really the Georgia Power is what it is. And so probably 70% of our budget's fixed, and you really can't touch it. So you say, well, we're going to cut 10%. You can cut 10% or cut 10% of what you can cut, which is about $9-10 million probably. But if you do that, you're sacrificing services. There's not a lot of fat to cut there, but we're going to have to look at it, and we are going to look at that, and we're going to do what we have to do with that. But creating new revenues, growing the economy in Wayne County, that's the key. That's where you really, it's like trying to grow a business. You don't grow a business by cutting it. Now, we do need to cut, and we do need to be very wise with the money, but we also have to be forward thinking. And what can we do to grow the tax base? There's some little things. You start out with the pennies. We have a lot of property that's on our tax base that's held by the county that's been received over time for different things. Just like that forestry land we're getting in trade for some out there by Bill Morris. We don't need that on the books. That's money. That's land that's not earning a dime. So we are looking at trying to liquidate some of this land, put it back on the tax rolls. One, the county gets some money for that. Second, it puts it on the tax roll. There's a lot of little things just like that can be done. Watch your pennies; dollars are falling, And that's what we're going to do.
Well, one place where they save money, you mentioned the relationship between the city and the county, it needs to be on a good footing. And again, they've been able to consolidate several services which have saved money. The maintenance shop is one. There's a list of others, gas. So, the cooperation with the city and county needs to be there right now.
And that's something that
right now it appears it's not there. Which is
it's improved.
They keep talking about this joint meeting that never takes place. They've been talking about a joint meeting for 6 months. Where's the joint meeting? It seems to me that the tension between the city and county right now isn't very good. Hopefully, Ed Jeffers can resolve that. But where do you see what's the problem there? Why hasn't there been a joint meeting set up? When there's been discussion for 6 months, we're going to joint meeting, no joint meeting. What's the problem?
Well, I'm the biggest advocate of that.
Right, but why hasn't one taken place?
Well, it takes 5 people, it takes 3 to do something. You know that because I do. But
that's the frustration for the Wayne County community. They look at the city and county government and they say, what is wrong? Why can't they even get together in a meeting room and have a discussion? They've been talking for 6 months, we're going to discuss it, we're going to get together, and they can't get together because of personality conflicts. That's the most frustrating thing that the community sees. What is the problem?
Well, Bob, we talked about having the meeting you're talking about. And
for 6 months. Yeah. Hasn't taken place.
Well, it hasn't been 6 months, but it's been
6 months.
And Ralph has invited everybody to that town hall meeting. You can reach out across the aisle anywhere and say, hey, let's get together and work this out. I don't think anybody
for the longest time they were working together. Like I said, they worked together on the maintenance shop. They worked together on the gas. Everything was going around, and all of a sudden something happened. I don't know what happened. There was a trip down there in Jekyll where some
but we're going to get through that
argument took place, and now we're not meeting together. That's frustrating.
Yeah, it is to me too. We're going to get through. I have zero tolerance for not having unity. We're going to work together, and that's. But you got to realize some of the things that's happened in the last 3 months that's impeded us from having that kind of meeting. We had the hurricane, we had serious budget issues. Those budget issues really threw us back hard, and then you had the administrative situation started about 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago. So some of the things that's happened in a point in here which we were all willing to have the meeting. So we're willing to have it. And we're going to have the meeting. Well, we all agree with just the same way. It's got to happen.
Hopefully it'll be able to resolve that because I think him and Mike have a good working relationship. There needs to be good relationship between the city and county.
Absolutely. Bob,
all the conflict does not get anything resolved.
You know what it was like before. They was about to sue each other. That was before I took office. And that was what I ran on. I ran on unity, and I think we've had a pretty good time. We've actually worked very well together. I got a good relationship with every city commissioner. Every time there's an issue, if there's an issue on Republic, whatever it is, I make a point to call every single city commissioner. I've went down there to their hall and met with them because they represent the city. That is my district. When we got the proposal, I went to them. I didn't make them come to me. I didn't do anything. I went to them. So I have met with them. I can't control what the whole board does, but I do meet with the city on a regular basis.
Getting close to the end, let me get the elephant in the room. Republic's proposals on the table, solid waste meeting tonight, they're not in favor of. The county doesn't seem like they're in favor of. Let's just cut to the chase. They're not going to accept the new proposal, which means we're going to keep the current proposal. So where do we stand?
That's absolute no-go with me. I'm not interested in that proposal.
No one's interested in the proposal. No, so I'm saying why I'm not interested in. Why isn't it just a statement by both sides? They look for the proposal.
It has to start with the waste authority because they're the ones with the actual contract.
Well, they're going to meet tonight, right? But
yeah, we have a contract with the waste.
My question is. We know the solid waste is going to say we don't want the new proposal. We know the county is going to say we don't want the new proposal, which means we're at the current proposal.
Yes.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Opposed to what we've been offered, I think it's a good thing. I think there's some negotiation we can do.
Well, I thought we're not going for the new proposal.
I'm not going to negotiate. Bob, listen to me. I'm not going to negotiate.
You're missing my question.
Okay.
No one's for the new proposal.
No one is for. Wait a minute. That's not. No one is for changing the host agreement to give. Nobody is for giving away what money that we got in exchange for having that mountain out there. I'm not. Right. I am not going to concede one dime of that contract in a trade for the coal ash or anything else. I'm not trading that away because that's trading away our future, and I'm not going to do it.
Right. Well, you're missing my point. The point is no one's for the new proposal, which means we're keeping the current proposal.
Yes.
So the question is the current proposal a good proposal or a bad proposal? Because we're going to keep it. We're not for the new proposal that Republic's offering on the table. The solid waste is going to say no tonight. County's eventually going to say no. So that means we're sticking with the current proposal, which the current proposal says they can bring coal ash in if they want to. Yeah. And the way Donald Trump's EPA just ruled, they're not for any environmental safety. they're saying we're going to sit back for 2 years and you can do whatever you want to do.
It's better than what they're proposing. I'm not. I think I made that statement clear a year ago when it all came out. I didn't like the contract. I felt like the contract didn't give us any ability to raise the tipping fee at over 40-something years, and you can never raise your cost of product. I would love to have that in the heat and air industry if the air conditioner stayed the same right on. There was a lot of things I didn't like about it. It didn't address the coal ash because coal ash changed its the EPA changed the definition of that. So that wasn't even the same thing at the time.
So if we keep the current proposal, like I said, you want to still change something. Is there a meeting going to be set up between the county and Republic to talk about where we're going with this contract and what we're going to do in the future? Or
I'd be willing to meet with them. I'm not sure what. I'm not going to trade the tipping fee. I can tell you that. That's off the table with me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw the city of Jessup under the bus. That's off the table with me too. Now, I'm only 1 out of 5 votes, but I don't see that happening. Again, we're working pretty good together.
Right. But this proposal the Republic's advertising, I mean, that's not going anywhere. That's dead in the water.
That's a great neighbor thing.
But you know it's not going to pass.
No, I don't think it is, no.
We know it's not going to pass. So.
Well, I speak for this. I won't vote for it.
Does anybody text in a question?
Yeah, we've got some comments here, but that was a good discussion. All right, a couple things here. When will Ed Jeffords retire to avoid any appearance of a conflict?
He's already retired.
Okay, from Rayonier, I think is what is that the question?
Ed Jeffords already retired from the
he put in. He's worked with Rayonier on that.
We discussed that. Ed Jeffords is going to be the new county administrator October 1st, and he will no longer be associated with Rayonier.
Okay, and then another question. Why do we fight with our local industries over taxes? We seem to lose that battle all the time.
Why do we repeat that?
Why do we fight with our local industries over taxes? And I think that's over like the appeals process. I think is what they're. So we always seem to lose when
we didn't fight with them about the one that was specifically was about some equipment that was installed that had a value. I mean, I don't want to get too much into what the tax the tax office does, but it was about some equipment that was installed that didn't get used, and then they wanted to pull it back off or reduce the value of it because it wasn't being used.
I think they were also referring to some other like with the pine tree land.
I think they're talking about the appeals of Rayonier.
That all was settled.
Why do we have legal battles of Rayonier and lost? I mean, that's water under the bridge. I mean, we didn't win that battle.
Right. That's been settled over.
I think this current board realized that. Yeah, that's a futile.
It is
futile way to go. We lost.
It isn't the way we went about it.
And that's one of the reasons why the budget's where it's at as well. All those legal fees. I mean, there's no telling what the legal. I've been asking that question from day one, but I can't get that
right.
That's the amount of money I want to know. How much money's been spent in legal fees in court trying to fight battles we can't win and lose?
Previous to us, I can't speak of that. We haven't spent that much. We went and got, and I think we need to. When we had a situation when the Republic come up, we need to know, because of the contract, we need to know where we stood on the contract. We paid a consultant, I think, 3 different consultants for 3 different issues. It was a little over $10,000, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not talking about this battle. I'm talking about the previous battle with Rayonier.
You're talking about with Rayonier before. You got to remember, I got late in 2014.
I understand, but I'm just saying that's why the budget's where it's at, though. All those legal, I tell people all the time, I'm in court that one time, and I'll never forget the judge yelled, what part of losing this case don't you people understand? The county's lost this case. Rayonier has won. Pay Rayonier what you want. So,
I'll hit you with another elephant too.
We didn't win that battle.
That's one reason why we moved the direction we did on another issue was because we were not going to continue to do futile lawsuits.
Right.
Now that's just what it was, and I was determined to that. If we got to fight, we'll fight. But I'm not going to, like you said, we weren't going to do any futile lawsuits, and that was one of the reasons why the decision was made that was.
I think that was what the question was referring to.
I think so.
That was referring to why do we battle with our local industries when we don't win those battles.
We got to work with them. We got to build. But now, at the same time, everybody's got to pay their share. I mean, I've got to pay my share. But, just jump on a lawsuit for sake of doing it and cost money, that's craziness, and that's not happening right now.
All right, one more final thing here. I think that to the point of where you can cut in the budget, like Bob said, you've got all these murder trials, like the sheriff's office. This one says $600,000 in overtime, and that is a constitutional office that the county has to fund out of the taxes that come in. Is that correct? That you have to fund the sheriff's office out of county taxes?
Yes, well, we have to fund the sheriff for what's adequate to do his job. What is adequate? That's determined, and we have a good relationship with the sheriff. The question I asked yourself on that is the $600,000, and it wasn't 6, it was less than that. But for the overtime money you're talking about, did that happen because they were short people? Did it happen because of the hurricanes? Or is that a way of giving more income to them and letting more hours that you would have had more people anyway? That's the question you got to ask them that too.
I understand. Well, that was just their comment, though. I think that they're saying though that when you have these trials, you've got to have you've got to staff it. There's
more
that
personnel,
cost,
more security, things like that.
I'll throw it if I can. The hurricanes were a bad thing. We had 2 last year, 1 this year. And it costs us. People just don't know how it costs us a bunch of money.
Right, it does cost. There's no doubt. I mean, and that's why you try to get FEMA to come in. That's why it's good when the governor.
But another thing too is a lot of that money we talking about runs behind. We still, the last I heard, they can say they're going to pay us FLIPA, but the last I heard, we still haven't received 2016's money. So
and we still haven't recouped all the money from the last hurricanes.
Exactly.
I mean, Donnie's talked about that. We got some of it, but we haven't got all of it. But that's where the discussions come.
You're working together. I'd like to throw that in. I was a part of that, and in those meetings before the hurricanes, and it was totally amazing to me to see how cooperative and how the people of Wayne County did work together. The sheriff, the department, the city police. You'd have the mayor in there. You'd have the county and the city administrators, the road department, DOT, everybody, private citizens. Everybody worked together. There was not no big eye, little you thing going on. It didn't matter what position you held. Donnie Ray, which I'll take credit for, we did hire him. He did he did an outstanding job. I mean, I can't go enough. But from something bad, the unity that Wayne portrayed there is what we have to continue. To your point earlier, we have to continue. We're not going to move forward as a county. We're not going to eliminate some of these problems we're talking about as a county unless we do work together. And it is frustrating to me when we can't get the meeting together you're talking about. But we have had some things in between, some issues that made it difficult to have a meeting when you were so enthralled in, everything from the pool to, Bob, in the last 3 years, you realize how many issues we've had? We've had 2 commissioners we've lost. One to death, one resigned. We walked in the door to DuPont. We've lost first county commissioner. He resigned only to find out that he had left $500,000. Yeah, I'm sorry, administrator. He had left $500,000 unfunded that we didn't know about. We had a problem with the Department of Revenue who went after our tax office, failed them on some things, which...
That was a bad hire, by the way.
Big deal.
I say it all the time. Good people, good results. Bad people, bad results. That was just
$6 million in
results.
Tax in reimbursements for flipping. We lost.
Right.
Now we got $2 million back. We lost $4 million. So we were supposed to get $6 million. You said, well, you weren't entitled to that money to begin with. Well, here's the thing: we issued the credits for the tax credit, didn't we?
Right.
So we lost the money either way you want to do it.
I know we're getting to the end, but again, appreciate you coming in. Do want to clarify, get you to say one more time about your town hall meetings tomorrow night. 6 to 7 is
Tuesday night at Historic Strand from 6 to 8 o'clock. From 6 to 7 o'clock will be more casual. You walk around, just talk, and you can tour the building. You can go upstairs and see how Jamie didn't clean up the apartment. You can look at the projector area.
Jamie's saying no on the apartment. Just don't worry about that.
So
I'm gonna give her.
The door's locked.
I know how it is to clean an apartment. It takes a while. So for
and the reason we opened that up, just so you know,
I don't want people looking at my apartment either, Jamie. I don't.
Me and Jamie are real big advocates of downtown, and you work, live, and play downtown, and that's how you grow it downtown. And downtown's growing right now. It's doing great. And the apartment complex downstairs, the apartments, putting apartments upstairs, that concept is something that's really taken off downstairs. And ours is an example of that. You got the Williamsons across the street doing the same thing. You got Mr. Albert Bennett, Miss Bodner, or Dr. Bodner, and you're talking about 25, 30 people going to be living. I'm sorry,
Dr. Campbell.
Dr. Campbell. There's 25, 30 people, families going to be living downtown, and these are higher than normal average income. They'll be living in it. Now, that's going to infuse money in downtown. Those people are going to want to go downstairs. Now you're going to see your businesses below thrive, and we'll have a vibrant downtown, and that reflects with the community. Because when you're trying to draw an industry, they want to decide, do they want to live here? Well, there's a lot of things going in that play. Education, our sports programs for the kids. Also, do they want to live there? Is a downtown vibrant? Is there something to do? And these are the kind of things, me and James, We've taken personal interest in that, and we're doing what we can do. And I'm trying to do what I can do with the county. I'm not going to tell you that we hadn't made some mistakes. I'm not going to tell you that it's went exactly the way I planned it, because if it went the way I planned it, it'd be a lot different than this. But, I don't get my way on everything. But I'm doing the best I can.
Well, push for the joint meeting between city and county. That'd be a good start.
Yes, sir, we will do that.
All right, one final question that came in, and I guess it's distribution of funds. Do the fees collected from every county office go into the general fund, or do some of those funds stay in the offices that receive them? I think you can also say like your tag thing, where almost all of it goes out of the county entirely. Do you know? They're asking the ratio, like say, like permitting fees. Does that go? What fees? Is there a percentage of fees that stay with the office that collected them?
So I don't know the exact answer to what you're asking. There are some fees that go back to the state, and
Right.
there are some. Most of the stuff does come in our general budget, and we redistribute it from there. All the money for the county that comes in goes through the county through our budgeting process and is issued back out. Now, again, there are some monies that go straight to the state. I don't know the exact. If you find out who that is, I'll get the exact answer they're looking for. That's all I can promise you I'll do is I don't always know the answer, but I'll get you the anscer.
All right, I'll give you that phone number.
Appreciate you coming in. Always
Thank you,
invited.
Bob.
Jamie, next time you get to talk more. We'll talk about strands.
Might be ruining against me next time.
But again, that's going to do it for the World Famous Butch and Bob Show. Jonathan, again, thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, World Famous Butch and Bob Show on WIFO, brought to you by Mike Birchford and Blackshear, Jessup Premium Storage, Republic Services, and Murphy's Builder Supply. Good morning at 8:36 here at the Big Dog WIFO.
For all your medical needs, Tim's Home Medical on South 1st Street in Jessup has you covered. Oxygen, CPAP equipment, wheelchairs, walkers, hospital beds, plus specialty medical equipment from a local company that cares. Tim's Home Medical can handle Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance billing, as well as family records for tax purposes. Tim's Home Medical, owned and operated by Tim Sloan, 918 South 1st Street in Jessup. Tim's Home Medical. Call 385-2490, 385-2490.
The best time to buy a new vehicle is now. The only place to get your best deal is Paul Thigpen Chevrolet.
I'm here to tell you right now, I'll beat any deal. Any deal. Y'all try it.
Right now, PTC is giving you $3,500 customer cash or 20% off on 2017 Cruze, Malibu, and Trax.
You can come in here and drive one out like you stole it, because you almost did.
Save even more with 0